Every single second, right inside your body, there's this invisible, perfectly choreographed ballet happening on a molecular scale. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most critical performances of all, the incredible journey of oxygen and the remarkable molecule that makes the whole thing possible.
So our story kicks off with a fundamental challenge. It's a problem that every complex creature, you and me included, had to solve just to exist. And it's really a problem of logistics, of supply and demand, but it's happening on a scale you can't even imagine.
I mean, really think about that. That breath you just took, that life-giving oxygen, has to get from your lungs to every single cell in your body. But here's the catch. Oxygen, on its own, does not like to dissolve in water. And our blood, well, it's mostly water. If our bodies had to rely on just passively dissolving oxygen into the bloodstream, we simply couldn't get enough of it to survive. Not even close.
To solve this massive problem, our bodies evolved this incredible molecular machine that boosts our oxygen-carrying capacity by, wait for it, 70 times. That's a staggering 70-fold increase compared to just relying on dissolved oxygen alone. Honestly, that number right there, that's the difference between life and death.
So what is this biological marvel? What's the solution? Well, it's a protein that acts like a dedicated, super high-capacity oxygen delivery service. And there are trillions of them packed inside our red blood cells.
And here it is. Meet hemoglobin. This is the absolute hero of our story. As you can see, it's not just one simple thing. It's this complex assembly of 4 separate protein chains. And tucked right into each of those chains is the real secret to its power. A special little group that contains a single vital atom of iron.
The name itself basically tells you the whole story. Heme refers to that crucial iron-containing group. That's the part that actually does the work of grabbing the oxygen. And globin is just the name for the globular protein framework that holds the whole thing together. It's this perfect partnership of metal and protein.
Okay, so let's break that down just one more time. Every single hemoglobin molecule has 4 globin chains, 4 heme groups, and this is the most important part, 4 iron atoms. What this really means is that each hemoglobin molecule is like a tiny shuttle with 4 available seats for oxygen passengers.
So how does this amazing little shuttle actually do its job? Well, the whole process kicks off in the lungs, where hemoglobin has to be incredibly efficient at loading up on its precious cargo.
Right, so when hemoglobin finds itself in the oxygen-rich environment of your lungs, its behavior totally changes. Its one and only job is to grab as much oxygen as it possibly can, and as fast as it can, before it gets shipped out into the bloodstream.
And this is where it gets really, really clever. Hemoglobin basically works as a team with itself in a process we call positive cooperativity. So when that first oxygen molecule binds to one of the 4 seats, it causes a tiny change in the protein's overall shape. And that little tweak makes it so much easier for the second, third, and fourth oxygen molecules to just snap right on. It's kind of like the first person opening a really heavy door makes it a total breeze for everyone else to rush in right behind them. And this S-shaped curve you see here, that's the signature, the visual proof of that incredible teamwork. See how the curve suddenly gets super steep? That shows that as soon as hemoglobin grabs that first oxygen, its appetite for more just shoots through the roof. This whole process ensures it gets almost completely loaded up before it even leaves the lungs. Okay, but picking up oxygen is only half the battle, right? Now hemoglobin has to be smart enough to know exactly where to drop it off. It can't just release oxygen randomly. It has to deliver it to the tissues that need it the most at that very moment. The secret to this smart delivery system lies in 2 different physical shapes, or states. So in the lungs, it's in what we call the relaxed state, which has a super high affinity for oxygen. It wants to hold on tight. But when it gets out to the tissues, it needs to switch over to the tense state, which has a low affinity for oxygen, making it really easy to let go. So what's the signal? What tells hemoglobin to switch from that clingy, relaxed state to the generous, tense state? This is where the design is it's beautiful. The tissues themselves send the signal. Think about it. A hardworking muscle produces byproducts, right? It produces carbon dioxide, which makes your blood more acidic, and it produces heat. These aren't just waste products, they are the perfect trigger. A phenomenon called the Bohr effect that literally tells hemoglobin, hey, this is the spot, drop the oxygen right here, right now. To really appreciate how brilliant this system is, let's compare hemoglobin to another molecule called myoglobin. Just think of hemoglobin as the massive fleet of delivery trucks, constantly on the move, shipping oxygen all over the body. Myoglobin, on the other hand, is like the local warehouse you find right inside muscle cells.
It has an extremely high affinity for oxygen, and it does not let go easily. That makes it a terrible delivery truck, but it's the perfect warehouse for storing an emergency supply of oxygen.
We've seen the incredible mechanics of this protein shuttle, this delivery truck. But now we come to the very heart of the story, the one single element that makes this entire elegant process even possible.
It is just amazing when you stop and think about it. About 70% of all the iron in your entire body is locked up inside hemoglobin and myoglobin. The vast majority of this essential mineral is dedicated to this one, single, vital task: capturing, transporting, and storing oxygen. So here's the absolute bottom line. It doesn't matter how complex the protein chains are, it doesn't matter how elegant that cooperative binding is. Without that single iron atom sitting at the center of each heme group, there is literally nowhere for the oxygen to attach. The entire system fails. Iron is the non-negotiable key, period.
And hey, this isn't some newfangled idea. As this scientific review points out, this fundamental link between iron and hemoglobin has been a cornerstone of nutritional science for decades. It is the #1 reason we've understood for so long that iron is absolutely vital for our health.
And this is where it all connects directly back to our own health. When we don't have enough iron, our bodies simply can't produce enough functional hemoglobin. This leads to anemia, a condition where our whole oxygen delivery system is compromised. It's what leaves us feeling weak and tired, because our cells are literally being starved of oxygen.
The story of hemoglobin is just such an amazing glimpse into the world of molecular biology. It's a perfect machine designed for a perfect purpose, and it all centers on a single atom of iron. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other incredible unseen journeys are taking place inside all of us, right at this very moment?